ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। All right, so what happens during an eclipse? So there's two types of eclipses, the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is what we'll be talking about today. So that's when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, casting a shadow. Today we are experiencing a partial solar eclipse. So it's not total, it's partial. Also, according to Vedic astrology, I'm going to show you in a moment the chart. The eclipse is happening over two zodiac signs, Leo and Virgo, but it's mainly Virgo, according to Vedic astrology. So this eclipse is only visible in New Zealand, Eastern Australia, Pacific Islands, and Antarctica. So a great majority of the world is not seeing this eclipse, so we don't have to worry about the do's and don'ts. Hence, we're actually even having a live during the eclipse time. Usually, what not to do during eclipses, we don't look at the sun. We don't eat, drink anything, sleep, don't sign any contracts, don't start traveling. These things are not supported by eclipses. What you can do during an eclipse is actually to focus, to go within, to journal, to pray, to chant mantras, to purify yourself, to do yoga or any kind of spiritual activity, because spiritual activities, they are enhanced and empowered by the eclipse, especially when it's visible. So we're actually doing an empowering thing today by bringing our minds into full awareness of ourselves and our surroundings in this life. So congratulations, all of you, for coming here and making the time from all over the world. So this eclipse is also unique because it is coinciding with the autumnal equinox, which means today, the 21st and 22nd of September, over these 2 days, what's happening is that autumnal equinox is here, aligning with this eclipse. So this is the official beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere, and the vernal equinox, the beginning of spring in the southern hemisphere. So today, the days and the nights are the same length in the north and the south of the world. And the eclipse is also happening today. So that's relatively rare. Another very important thing about eclipses, there are, in Vedic astrology, the nodes of the moon are linked to the eclipse. So there are two nodes, the north node, Rahu, and the south node, Ketu. This eclipse, the 21st of September 2025, is a K2, is a south node eclipse. So that means that we are actually feeling the impact of the K2 energy. What is the difference between Rahu and Ketu? Rahu is more about overwhelm and expansion and transformation and desire. The Ketu eclipse we're experiencing now is different. It's about endings, it's about realism. It's even sometimes cutting, is a detaching and letting go. It's clearing the board for a fresh new beginnings type of eclipse. That's the K2 energy. If that resonates with you already, you can react with a thumbs up or any way you like to react. So also know you are listening. So yes, so that's the kind of eclipse we're experiencing. We already spoke about do's and don'ts. So what else we can say? Yes, the energy of the solar eclipse. So lunar eclipses, which we all experienced, that was 2 weeks ago on the 7th of September. Right, so 7th of September, we had the lunar eclipse in Aquarius with Rahu. So that was the beginning of the eclipse portal. So we're talking about the eclipse portal right now, and today is the closure of this eclipse portal, so to say. It's between the moon and the sun. So it's basically taking hold of the whole month of September, right, from beginning to end and more. But especially the September month is quite filled with eclipse energy. So what is happening about the solar eclipse is more impactful because it talks about more concrete, realistic aspects of our lives. Whereas the 2 week ago eclipse was planting the seeds. The moon was more on a mental level. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm feeling this direction. Something is shifting in my mind, in my heart, in my relationships. That was 2 weeks ago. Now it's that thought process, that new energy has set, and we are ready for making those steps, making those transitions. That's why solar eclipses are given usually more emphasis than lunar eclipses, although they're linked. Now is a time of concrete steps, and it's especially a concrete, how do you say, it's an eclipse which is pushing towards pragmatic, realistic changes because this eclipse is another unique feature of it, which is exactly opposed by Saturn. Saturn is at 4 degrees of sidereal Pisces, and the eclipse is happening. The sun is exactly at 4 degrees of Virgo. And I'm speaking sidereal because these are the alignments, these are the real astronomical alignments which are used in Vedic astrology or Jyotish. So Saturn has a huge impact in this eclipse, and Saturn is all about responsibility, seriousness, maturity, and all kinds of difficult and sometimes also happy, but very solid karmas, like relationships, career, and house moves. Everything is being affected by Saturn. Another thing about the sun is that the sun is being eclipsed, isn't it? So it's a process of the rebirth of the sun. The sun is being covered and is coming out anew. So what does the sun represent in astrology? The sun represents the governments, leaders, and that it's in all levels, right? So in the world level, that is literally the governments. So presidents, CEOs, presidents, prime ministers, they are being more shook, or there could be misunderstandings. Have you heard, Trump visited the UK, and Keir Starmer didn't agree or didn't take on his suggestion. So these things could go on in many other political and social spheres. There's also other things happening with this eclipse impacting the people. There could be more riots, more rage, also because Mars has recently entered Libra, which makes more of a havoc with the people. People are fighting for justice, for equality, and also for, yeah, they are not withstanding any sort of injustice in any level. And the Saturn influence is giving it even more power to the people during this eclipse season. But the sun also represents leaders in general, even in minor levels. So if you are a manager of a company, a CEO, if you're self-employed, if you are the head of a family, if you are a father, maybe your father, these topics are also being eclipsed or going through some serious change or challenge. So if you are in a position of leadership, you could feel especially challenged, and there could be some major changes in your life. All right, so these are the main general meanings of this solar K2 eclipse. Now, where is the eclipse happening? It's happening in the sign of Virgo. So Virgo themes are going to be rising. And this is actually not a new thing because the eclipses have been happening in the sign of Virgo since, guess when? Since November 2023. So it's actually been like 2 years that we have this ongoing series of eclipses in Virgo. So this is actually the last eclipse in Virgo, which you're going to experience in the next 7 years. So this is a time it's like closing the topic of Virgo. And what is that? That is to structure our lives. It's about routine. It's about planning ahead. It's about financial planning. It's about daily routine, diet, schedule, the last 2 years have been a big push for people to get into a system, a rhythm in specific areas of their life, depending on your signs. And we're gonna get to that in just a moment, the prediction for all the signs. But these are general things. Also health, disease, and healing, huge topics. So this have definitely increased significantly in the last 2 years. And this eclipse is the last push. You have not done your healing yet? Well, this is your time. right? You've been thinking about doing the therapy, calling that psychologist, book your consultation. This is your time. This is your time to do that. And the eclipse is happening to clear ourselves, to clear our mind, and also to reset our nervous system. If you've been feeling especially sensitive, overwhelmed, nervous lately, see, these are topics of Virgo. Virgo rules the nervous system. So the eclipse is also shaking that nervous system. So this is your opportunity to reset it. And I say that in a very positive way because, even though eclipses can sound scary and they can be sometimes eerie or gloomy energies, this eclipse is not so. This is actually one of the good guys. Even though it's serious, it's not bad. So that's the good news, which we can all know, right? So why is it a good eclipse? This eclipse is happening in Virgo together with Mercury. Now, Mercury is the ruler of the sign of Virgo, and Mercury is exalted very strong in Virgo. So it's actually uplifting this eclipse energy, making the cleanse, the letting go, the ending, whatever it is that you feel like is slipping away from your life. Don't worry, it's for the good. Just let it go. Make the space for what is about to come, which will be much better. So that's the main thing about this. It's a good letting go, and is to help you reset your nervous system. So I'm happy I'm seeing the reactions. I know some people's individual scenarios, and I'm like, yes, I'm happy you see it as well. Which is the chart of the eclipse, right? It's a chart of the eclipse in Virgo. Here I have put London as a time, but it will apply to the whole world. So don't worry about that. Doesn't matter where you are. So what are we trying to focus on? The eclipse zone. Okay, so that is right here. Can you see the lines I'm drawing? Yeah? Okay, cool. So that is where the eclipse is happening, the sign of Virgo. You see the moon and the sun. They always have to be together. Today is a new moon day. New moon means moon and sun in the same sign, and the moon is exactly over this yeah, covering our visibility of the sun. So the exact degrees, 4 degrees. And we have Mercury in it, in Virgo, how I mentioned. And look at that. Look at the 4 degrees motion. 4 degrees moon, 4 degrees sun. And right opposite of that, look at our Saturn at 4 degrees of Pisces. Now, this is really wild because the planets, like the sun, moves 1 degree per day. Every day changes degree. But Saturn, it moves 1 degree per month. So last month was 3 degrees, next month will be five. Now, what are the odds that the Sun and the Saturn would coincide at 4 degrees, exactly opposite each other on the day of the eclipse? I'm taking this very seriously, and that's why I feel this eclipse is especially powerful because of this direct impact of Saturn opposite the Sun. So what we're going to speak about today in each zodiac sign, we're going to see what is Saturn telling you according to your sign, and what is the solution or the homework you got to do in the eclipse in order to get your Saturn results. And yes.